Alrighty. Well, today we are going to make a simmer pot. So we'll need a few items. I have 3 of these actually, and this is like my medium one. So I suggest that size if you want to make something that will smell like the whole house up instead of just your kitchen or something. We don't need this. This is in the way. So that's something that we will need. You'll fill it with water. We've got our cranberries for later. No salt and pepper in this pot. We've got some oranges. You'll just make one if you're, or use one if you're gonna make a small pot, sorry. This has a lemon in it that's already half cut up from a different simmer pot. I have these going all the time in the winter. So these are from our Christmas tree this year. I just tore a little branch off. They smell fantastic. Another option you could use if you're wanting something a little different than your pine smell is some rosemary. This came from our herb garden, excuse me, outside. Rosemary is something that you can just grow in your windowsill if you'd like as well. It's something, at least for me, in my herb garden that doesn't come back every year. So you can either bring it in the house in the winter or just replant it every year. I've got some cloves. I tried to find some anise, which is really actually difficult around here. I tried quite a few different grocery stores. And then I have also some cinnamon. So this with water is all that I use for the simmer pot. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'll fill this up with water and then I'll come back. Let's see here. It doesn't matter if you use warm or cold. I think it'd be interesting to see how much quicker it warms up if you start with warm water, but doubt it makes any difference. This is not measured, it's just a random amount. Because you'll be adding things, you don't want to fill it. So the smells that I really enjoy the most is the rosemary. I think it's a pretty strong smell actually, so you might not enjoy it. You might just put one little sprig in. This simmer pot will last maybe 2 days because it has the fresh fruit in it. I've seen and heard from other friends that 1 day is usually all they use because these start to stink for them. One smell I'm actually not a fan of is cinnamon, at least in these simmer pots. I like cinnamon like in candles and stuff. So I'm just going to use one of those. They're pretty strong. I'll go ahead and tear these off just to fit them in there. Do that and get it in. And I will go ahead and turn this back stove on. At first, I just go ahead and go straight to high. Go ahead and get it going. Get it warm. You do want to remember that you'll eventually take that down to the lowest setting possible, so it's just going all day long, nice and slow. We'll move that in. I also like when visitors come over and you have this going. It's a nice little visual too, so it matters where you place the things. For this simmer pot, I'll go ahead and put the rosemary to the side. That is an option if you want to stay away from pine, because this time of year I feel like everything has pine. Your tree, your candles, really anything scented for Christmas has pine. So I'm not a big fan of that, just adding to that smell. A couple handfuls of these fresh cranberries. At this point in time, they're not too fresh. They are left over from some cranberry sauce that I made for Thanksgiving. Well, not from the sauce. They are leftover ingredients that I didn't use. and you just get carried away with those. I'll go ahead and get my lemon out. The great thing about these simmer pots is there actually isn't a right or wrong way to make them. So you just do whatever, and you learn what smells you like, and if you want to put a ton of lemon in or just a smidge. I'm going to save this. I probably make 3 pots with 1 lemon. I like the citrus, but I don't want it to be like the main smell. Next, an orange. I don't pay attention to what kind I get. I'm sure there are juicier kinds. I don't pay attention to the kind. I just kind of pay attention to the price. And dehydrating these has never been something that I've done. These fresh ones are just really juicy. So they smell nice. You can even put in these. And another tip is if you're eating these oranges just for you and your children at home, you can save these instead of composting them and put them in. And they smell really nice. You can tuck it under if you don't think it's as pretty and leave these other ones on top. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't throw those away. Those smell nice. I would do a full orange as well. So we're getting there. And at the very end, we'll just top it off with some of our cloves. Also, and maybe that's frustrating, I don't have a certain amount. I just toss in what I like. The one ingredient I probably get really carried away with is the cloves and the rosemary. I really like those. Boop, boop. And that water is already pretty warm, so I'm going to turn it down to low and just let it go. Let's add a few more of these cranberries. Okay, now how much? Absolutely no idea. Let's see how many of those are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if you're looking for an exact recipe, there's 12. I will most likely come back and add more of those later in the morning. We'll add some water to the pot. I would go all the way up to the rim as well, because that water will go down throughout the day, and you just keep refilling it. You don't need to add more ingredients throughout the day if you like the smell, but you will add more water. I probably add more water 5 times a day probably. It's not the most convenient, but if you're in the kitchen working anyway and you're in the house, it's absolutely not a big deal. And now you just take some time to make everything look so pretty. We'll cover that one up. I left a sticker on there. Oh my goodness. Put that on top. Looks nice and pretty. And that is it. Your simmer pot is done. There's really nothing to it. I know if you've never done one, maybe you think you need to be specific with your measuring or something, but that's it. That's all it takes. Be sure to remember to add more water. You don't need to put a lid on, that's the whole point. It goes out into your house, you smell it. Other ingredients I have seen other people use, let's see, or for different recipes. You could leave the lemon out. You could put rosemary in. I said before, anise is something. Those are like those little stars that you see just in baking and things. I don't know. But those are those little stars. If you can find them in your store, that would be awesome. I would grab some. I feel like, at least around here, it's not something I've been able to find in several different stores and in several different trips, so I just stay away from it. They do have anise extract, which I've never put in before. I wonder if that would do anything. And that is all I've got. We've got sugar cookies in the oven. We've got our holiday simmer pot going. This house is gonna start smelling delicious.